Hello and welcome to my channel, Empowered Cello, where I help learning the cello make sense for the adult learner. My name is Emma Reeby. I'm a professional cellist and I've been an educator for over 10 years. And I'm really excited about today because today I am peeling back the curtain and giving you a look inside my exact system that I use to teach adult beginners specifically, okay? I think it's really helpful to have a roadmap, have a framework, have a system, and I know a lot of you are looking for that when you're here on YouTube, so I'm going to be giving you a major peek into what I do and then giving you an opportunity to go deeper if you want. Okay, let's dive in. So whenever I take on a new adult cello student, I break the learning process down into 3 introductory phases. One is a major focus on setup, posture and alignment. Do you have the right gear? Is your practice environment set up well for success? And all of that good stuff. From there, we dive into the bow foundations. I introduce the bow foundations first and we dwell on them for a while because I believe that the bow, hold, stroke, technique, all of that is the most intense part of learning cello as an adult beginner. So I start there so that my students are spending the most time on that and they're continuing to develop it as we add on. Now, when I begin this bow foundations phase, I find it really important to learn the bow hold shape off of the bow because the bow is heavy. And I find that students who try to learn the bow hold shape on the bow do run into some issues due to trying to compensate for the weight of the bow. It tends to mess up their bow hold. So we spend a lot of time off of the bow before transitioning the bow hold onto the bow. And I have a lot of steps in between that make that transition easier. Now, I like to teach so that an understanding of sound and how sound works on the cello informs the student's technique. So we then do a really, really deep dive into sound, how sound works, how the relationship between the bow hair to the string gets the sound going, and all that good stuff. And then we get to the bow placement on the string. And I teach my students how to make their first initial sound. We build up to the bow stroke and then all sorts of things to develop the bow stroke, all with that deeper understanding of how sound works on the cello. So from there, we then introduce all of the left side foundations, the cello side where your note playing happens. And while they're learning those foundations, they're still reviewing all of the bow foundations because you want to maintain all that deep work that happened on the bow foundations. Then you're applying a lot of intentional work to the cello side. We're learning these two things independently for a while before they come together. The very first thing I want my students to understand is the relationship between the arm, hand, and fingers when it comes to cello. The arm gets the hand and the fingers where they need to go. This helps prevent tension and allows you to be able to freely move around the fingerboard. Once that understanding is there, we then set the left hand cling, that left hand set up on the fingerboard, and do a bunch of exercises to get that feeling normal, get that feeling natural, and then we add on changing notes, how the arm rebalances when you change notes, how to troubleshoot tension, and then a lot of development is done about how to play in tune, how to listen for resonance, how to listen for ringing tone. So then finally, once the two sides independently are starting to feel more natural and good, then comes the process of synthesizing all of that information and starting to put it together. And I do it in a very specific way to reduce overwhelm, and this is what I do. There are 3 main goals that I'm always bringing my students' focus back to. 1, are you creating your ideal cello resonant sound? Because if not, then what's the point? So everything we do revolves around that. 2, are you feeling tense or are you in pain? Because if so, let's stop and fix it. And then 3, I'm teaching them how to listen on their own and problem solve. And so when we go to put these things all together, in order to have time for your brain to process all of those 3 goals while putting together all these new skills, use the stop and prepare practice method. So you're adding this pause before you start to play a note where you place the left hand, establish the bow grip, then play the note. Then you have a pause after to stop and assess the sound quality and intonation, see what's going on, and then redo with an adjustment if needed. And this helps build the proper habits because you're giving your brain the space to send messages to your body and your body the space to actually respond, and then time for you to assess and start to develop your own problem-solving abilities. I find that the key with my adult students is for them to learn the bow foundations and the cello side foundations independently in order to give them a chance to feel really solid and confident on each side. But then they're learning cumulatively, and so they're always reviewing what they just learned as they add on. This increases repetitions and keeps things fresh. So if that framework makes learning cello feel attainable, not like you're drinking from a fire hose, and maybe even easy in some regards, and you want to learn more about how this works played out in action, you can join my free live workshop starting August 1st, but there will be 3 time slots you can sign up for. I'll be there live walking you through this system, how it translates into good, healthy practice habits so that you feel confident, you know what to work on every time you sit down. And I'll be there live so you can ask as many questions as you want. And so I will drop the link to this live workshop in this video, and I hope to see some of you there. I think you would gain a lot from it. And if you're a fan of content like this that revolves around learning the cello, healthy technique, healthy habits and strategies, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.